Wow, that is delicious. Finally, some good f***ing food.
This ain't your grandpappy's Star Wars, Christopher. Let me tell you what. Actually, now that I think about it, it probably is your grandpappy's story because it's filled with political intrigue.
Oh.
It's probably as slow as he is walking speed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not your 8-year-old son's Star Wars, if you know what I mean.
It's not your Lego Star Wars.
Yes. There's implications of intercourse. I think, Christopher, Andor Season 1 is the best Disney Star Wars has ever done. I'll just put that out there. I loved it. And I think this season, it's good, not as good as Season 1.
I think I agree. I think my favorite episode out of all of them was Season 1, the little prison break one.
Mm-hmm. That's a great,
That's my favorite. I was like, I love a good prison break. Plus,
love
you
Andy,
get bloody Andy in there.
Mm-hmm. I liken it, Chris, to like a Star Wars Game of Thrones, where higher quality, you got bloody interconnected stories, really good acting, set design, just firing on all cylinders for me. And I think what we can do is just get into some cons and finish on some high notes. What do you think of that?
Yes. Can I just rebut here on the
Sure.
Can I go con here? I get they were going for the Game of Thrones, but I think why it works really well in Game of Thrones is you have like 8 seasons and you kind of build. You basically get to know more by like season 3 or 4, and then you're like, oh, I could go back, and then this is going to make a more sense and more enjoyable rewatch versus this is just like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Basically, my main storyline I liked was Andor.
Yep.
And I didn't really care for like Mothra or even...
her friends call her Mothra. Yeah, that's her.
yeah.
The biggest con I think a lot of people have, and I slightly have it, is that it's very slow. It's very, very slow at times, Christopher. It can seem like someone impersonating a Severus Snape type, much like this.
I can't wait for the new Snape. Everyone turn the page to 445.
Yeah. I think season 1 had a better pacing because it was like 3 episodes would be like, oh, there's a little contained story, another 3 episodes, so it'd be by 3. And this one, it kind of peaks at episode 7 and then sort of fizzles out towards the end a little bit.
Are you saying excitement-wise?
Yeah, excitement-wise, not quality-wise, but the episode where they're on Gorman, it's like the height, and then it doesn't quite reach that ever again in the series, for me at least.
Episode 8 was the one where they attack all the people.
Whichever one that one is, yeah.
That was my favorite.
Yeah.
I feel like that was the peak.
Yeah, so I definitely hear the critiques. Mon Mothma, or Mothra as we affectionately...
Yeah.
I didn't care for her character, and I was like, probably could skip a lot of this. And I think, Christopher, what would be fun, there's a whole internet kind of cove where people re-edit things, re-edit movies to make them shorter or better. I would love to see this series cut down to like a trilogy of movies, like Andor Season 1 and 2, that would lead up to Rogue One. I think that would probably be better if paced a little bit more, tighten up the screws a little bit.
Just prequels in general, I'm never a big fan of.
Lacks tension.
You know who's going to die and you know who's going to live.
Yeah.
To me, if it's a prequel, it's always an uphill battle because there's no stakes for me. You got any other cons? I got a couple pros.
I got pros. Let's move on.
It's got a good cast. One of my favorite actors, Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh,
I love him. He steals the screen whenever he's on for me, buddy.
We were this close.
Good cast, good acting. I'd say my favorite was probably that episode 8, but I did like the opening episode. It starts off pretty interesting, where he's stealing the new bloody TIE fighter
that
prototype.
Was great, yeah.
And he's on the planet with the other rebel people. That was fun.
I love that bit where it establishes you've seen ace pilots in Star Wars before, Han Solo or whatever. And this guy, he's like, all right, I'm going to do this. And he's not great at it.
Going wrong.
Everything that could go wrong does. And that's much more exciting than him just like being able to pick up whatever and go for it. You see him in his distress and he's like, well, dang, I got to figure out, he's got to stick and move. And that's what makes a great character. He doesn't
jam that square and hit that triangle.
Quick time events and all, yeah. I think to speak to that, my favorite characters in this, season 2 especially, season 1 I have different characters that are favorites. I really like Cyril, played by Kyle Soller. He is just a more complex and layered character than we've seen in Star Wars, where in the first season, he was just kind of like this unsure of himself, little kind of dweeb who dreamt of greatness but couldn't ever live up to it and was like this little on the spectrum kind of weird guy, you know?
Yes.
And then in this season, he's still kind of there, but there's a part where the pin drops and he just turns on a dime. And it gets real intense with him and his girlfriend, Dedra.
Yeah, it's just straight up choking
Yeah.
the gal. Like, hey, where's this coming from,
Yeah,
buddy?
because he figures out like, hey, I've been a pawn in this and I don't like it. And it was really cool to see his development in that. And he's a really great actor. I thought he was one of the more engaging and compelling characters, along with Luthen. He was another top of mine. But another pro I have, Chris, 2 words: world building. Some might argue too much world building, a little bit too slow. If George Lucas suggested these worlds, you know, he painted with broad strokes. This series does the details. And it says explicitly things that really just build the world in a really engaging way for me. Like, what does a normal Star Wars person do? What do they dress like in their homes? What does their homes look like? How does the news work? All this weird stuff that doesn't need to be in there, but adds to the story, adds to the characters, really just builds up this really lived-in world that I appreciated. It's never like in your face. These are people. This is the world. Here it is. You know, last pro, the Empire has never been scarier than in this series. Because, like, you got your Hux. We talked about Domhnall and his Huxness, right?
Sure.
In the sequel trilogy, it's not really... It's this, like, weird thing you can't really attach yourself to. Is, oh, they're evil for the sake of being evil. This one, Chris, this series shows they're evil. They got plans. They're not stupid. They know how to use people and things, politics, news, and everything to their advantage to get what they want. And that whole, like, Gorman subplot, the best part of the show, did the whole insurrection and everything. Genius. And I don't know, it's just painted them as like, okay, these guys should be scared of, you should be scared of them. And I really like that. We haven't seen the Empire more frightening than in this. Along with that, the K2 robots, it was almost like a horror scene when they come out.
Throwing them, blasting them around. That was fun.
Yeah, that was real fun. I was like, oh, dang, you hear bones cracking, Chris. You hear skulls cracking. Star Wars is kind of afraid to show that kind of stuff, and I'm glad they did it here. Again, season 1 is better, but season 2, pretty good. Thanks for watching these highlights of our episode of the Stale Popcorn Podcast. If you want to listen to the full episode, check out the links in the description. Please like, share, and subscribe, and if you do that with your favorite YouTuber, I'm sure they would appreciate it too. Thanks, and have a great day.